Hello everyone, welcome to the Tailor Son. In this video, I shall be running you through the process of making a native attire, which is simply, we'll be focusing on just the top for today. So this is the design I'll be putting you through in this video. So right here I have the procedure or the stages and steps that I followed in making this senator top. So you can pause the video and check those steps out. So yeah, I have two threads here that I'll have to choose between one of them, which I later chose the one on my left hand side for the design that was displayed on your screen before. So I'll be using this particular thread for the thread work for the lapel of this design. So I have my front, which is the back cape of the dress. So just before we start, the first thing we are supposed to do is to add hairstay to the neck area. This is to give this firmness around the neck area, and then to enable the neck piping sit very well and sit properly on the neck area. So that is how I usually do my own. You can use thicker stay, but I prefer using just an hairstay. Okay, the next thing is to re-establish that particular line. That is the gator line. So I want to bolden that line. That line is to serve as, it is the midpoint of that cloth. That is where our flap or placket is going to be sewn. So I have to make that line very obvious so that when I press it, it doesn't get fade away. So this is the down part or bottom of the cloth. I'll be using 2.5 inches for the folding allowance. So you can simply bring the back panel and front panel together, and then you fold it into four pieces like that, or four halves. It will be in four pieces like that, and then you notch at 2.5. This will allow you to fold the fabric at 2.5 evenly. So after that, we are going to use our pressing iron to press that part down, and then after pressing, I'm going to add hemigum. Okay, after folding, I as well folded the rough area inside about 0.5 inches or an half an inch. Can you see? And then I ironed it. So this is the back piece. I'm also going to notch around 0.75, and then I'm going to fold it. That is the back cape. So the next thing is to take it to our sewing machine, and then we stitch. So I'm stitching the back and the front panel like that. So after doing that, I want to join the back panel to the front panel and then to the back cape simultaneously. So you have the back panel, the right side of the fabric is facing the machine, and then it's facing the table of the machine, it's facing the down, and then the front panel is facing up, while the last part, which is the back cape, is going to face the right part is going to face down, to it to face downward as well. So and then you join with 0.5 inches, just like I did. Then you flip to the other side, and then you join the other side of the shoulder with 0.5 inches as well. Okay, the next thing we want to do now is to top stitch. So you ensure you pull out the fabric. You can press it before you do this part, this top stitching, but because I've been doing it for a long time now, I know how to adjust the fabric without getting one overlaying the other. Okay, the next thing is to couple our back, the cape. Yeah, you make sure you centralize it. So this is the way I usually do mine. I first sew from the back. I'll stitch it from the back, from the midpoint rather, to one end, and then I'll take it to the back, to the midpoint again, then stitch it to another end. But I can as well use any gum to, press it down, hold the fabric down to the back cape, down to the back panel before stitching. But this is much faster, so I like using this method. Okay, the next thing we want to do now is to take our dress to the pressing table, and just before we start pressing, I usually like adding hemi gum in between the back panel and the cape. So this is just to give it a firm and this balancing around the neckline. So I don't really have to start adding what's it called, stay around the neck region again. And then you ensure you press properly before you start pressing, before you lay down the cloth back and then press. Okay, now we are good to go. So we balance the cloth, we wet the cloth, and then you press it properly. You ensure you align it with the back panel. Ensure you align it very well before you start pressing the shoulder line. So after pressing, you trim the neck area or the neck region just give it like a straight line, just like a straight line, and then you notch just like I did in the video. So after that, we want to cut out that midpoint I said we should bold in the other time. So we're just going to cut it down by 7 inches. Yeah, 7 inches will do just fine. Then you cut it down like that. So that is where we are going to put our flap or placket. Okay, so the next thing is to confirm the width of the neck. We folded the cloth into two, so whatever you have there will be multiplied by two. So I actually had 9 inches there. Okay, in my subsequent videos, I'll be making a video. I'm going to make videos on how to cut this neckline, how to get a befitting neckline for your client. So the next thing we want to do is to measure the armhole, just to confirm it. Right from when I was cutting the clothes, I already knew what the armhole was going to be, but just to be sure, we have to remeasure it. You can see that I really did not need to trim the armhole again. Okay, the next thing is to prepare the neck piping or the neck piper. So you fold at 45 degrees, just like I did. Well, you may be wondering why I actually folded it at 45 degrees. So this is to, clothes is usually stretchy around 45 degrees, and what we'll be needing for our neck piping must be stretchy, just like bias. So that is why we are cutting at angle 45 degree. So you introduce your hemicomb, and then you fold the two sides. Just make sure they kiss each other before you press it. Okay, so after that, we are going to press the neck piping at 0.5 inches. So ensure you tuck in the neck piper into the neck area very well before you sew. So I want to top stitch. So I'm going to sew at the tip of our neck piping. So it usually gives you this nice finishing and this balancing around the neck. So you could actually go about 3 to 4 times, but I usually do 3. I usually do 3. Just 3 times is enough. Then I'll sew at the center now. Okay, so the next thing is our flap. So I actually made a video on how to cut and how to sew and how to actually make this particular design of flap or placket, whatsoever you know it as. Okay, so do not forget that the slit we made at the midpoint of the front panel is just around 7 inches. So just before you are going to sew upward to about 6.5, and then we lock it from there. We lock the flap from there. Okay, so the next thing is to position the pocket. For the chest pocket now, you are going to drop down from the shoulder line, rather from the shoulder line 9.5 inches from the shoulder line or the neckline, and then you place the top of your cap, you place it on that straight line. So if this is your first time of making something like this, I would implore you to watch about 2 or 3 times before you proceed. So the next thing we want to do now is to join the sleeve to the body of the cloth. So while joining, you have to take note of the chalked area, which is the front, which is supposed to be at the front panel of the cloth. So that chalked area will be placed on the, or should be sewn rather, on the front panel. So you can see those two lines. I made a video on sleeve making, so kindly go and check. Okay, to ensure you place the notch area or the center of the sleeve at the shoulder line of the body of the cloth, so at the body of the dress rather, and then you stitch at 0.5 inches. So ensure you take your time while doing this, because this is more like the finishing of the dress. So after this, you're just going to turn the clothes and then you sew it from the other end. You should always begin at the shoulder line when you are joining a sleeve. So the next thing we want to do is to join the body of the cloth together. We are joining the back panel to the front panel now. So I usually start from the base of the top. That is what I'll be doing in this video. So before you start stitching, ensure you align everything properly. So our joining allowance is just about, it is 1 inch, actually 1 inch, and then the length at which I'm going to use to join from the armhole is 16, and then for our slit opening will be around 2 inches. So this is for the shoulder. I sew from the base of that dress and then down to the armhole, and then I am starting to sew from the sleeve at what they call 6.5 inches. Then I'm going to sew it down to the armhole. So just like that, and then you're going to repeat the same thing at the other side of the cloth. So the same 16 inches by 2, and then you sew by 1 inch, just like this. And so now this is the result of what we've been trying to achieve since morning. You can see how beautiful the dress is. You can see the design. So I'll be uploading a video on how to make this particular design, this thread work, in my next video. So thanks for watching. Please kindly like my video and subscribe so that I can get more of my